Welcome back. I hope you had a good break. Hard to believe, but here we are. It is the end of the course, the last week. We basically just have one main thing to be worrying about other than catching up on all the other work, but the final exam. I'll say something about that momentarily, I guess. But as a way to get to that, I'll just very briefly say something about the course. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been a good one. And I hope that, from our current perspective here at the end, looking back, you can kind of see more clearly the overall sense of things that may not have always been apparent at any particular point or week during the course. So that is where we began thinking about oppression, thinking about sexist oppression in particular. But also seeing that we need to go kind of beyond that, recognizing that other forms of oppression overlap with and intersect with sexist oppression. So we do need to think in those kind of intersectional terms, and that's kind of what we focused on mainly in the second half, so theorizing sort of an intersectional view of oppression. That is where we really recognize that what we need to do is take into account similarities, but also differences between the experience of different individuals, by recognizing that, say, well, no one's is definitive of what we're kind of looking for, that we need to somehow bring them together, combine or synthesize them in some productive or complementary or even kind of mutually reinforcing way. That the similarities and the differences are both really important to keep and to find the right way to balance them in order to sort of put forward a very strong and compelling, basically feminist vision of reality, really, as an alternative to more conventional or traditional views. In terms of issues about knowledge and experience, more traditional or conventional views are really quite different, right? They don't feel the need. There isn't really this felt need to find this kind of balance between similarities and differences and so on. It tends to be more a way of putting forward a more univocal, generally very kind of dominant and privileged perspective, and more or less excluding or erasing other kinds of perspectives. So hopefully that's fairly clear. It's a fairly stark contrast that a kind of feminist epistemological approach offers vis-a-vis more conventional approaches. Hopefully, and that's kind of what we've been seeing and talking about from different angles in the latter part of the course. And a lot of that is going to be reflected then in the questions that you'll see on the final exam. So this is a lot like the midterm. There's a bunch of questions, and you want to be writing about 3 of them. Most of these here are, kind of hovering or revolving around the themes I was just very briefly alluding to in terms of this kind of alternative approach to questions of experience and knowledge. Different figures that we've looked at, like Oksala, for example, some of the standpoint thinkers, Collins or Hartsock, there's Lugones. So the ideas are often very similar. It's just good to be able to see that. A lot of it's kind of on the same page. There's different emphases and different things are focused upon, but it's good to see that they're not really all over the map by any means. So hopefully that's a good thing. There's a couple of the questions there that are very close, so you'll see it's number 3. There's kind of an or, so don't do both of those, but pick some of the others. And one of the questions comes out of the last week, basically, where we kind of made that turn. Too briefly, I suppose, but anyway, time is what it is. We don't have enough of it. In terms of thinking about more kind of active uptake and application, you might say, or what this approach in terms of knowledge means or looks like in more practical or political terms, and that's this broad idea of coalitions and so on. So there's a question that touches on that, which I think you would really, it's a good one to spend some time thinking about. There's also a question that sort of comes out of the blue there. It's just a very general question about feminism and philosophy, basically. So see what you can make of that. If you're not into it, don't worry about it. And there's also a kind of make up your own question, which is sometimes a popular choice. If there's something that's particularly struck you or you're really interested in, could be something from earlier in the semester that you sort of has just been added to by subsequent things we've read or whatever, by all means, that would be great. It's not a bad idea to run it by me first just to make sure. But definitely you can do something with that. Make that one of your 3 questions. What I'm going to do in the next day or two probably not tomorrow, which is Monday, but Tuesday. I'll try to just make some, maybe one or a couple brief videos, basically, where I will just go over each of these questions, I think. Not in tons of detail, but just to make sure it's clear kind of what it is that I'm asking there, or what possible other references you might make or bring into the picture. It won't be super detailed, but it might be kind of useful anyways, but it won't be until probably about Tuesday, I think, that I will do that. If you have any questions before then, by all means, get in touch with me. And anyways, after that as well, by all means, if you're on campus or near Oxford, of course, we can meet in person. We can always meet by Skype, too. I think I sent my details out. If not, just send me an email and we can figure that out. But anyways, I hope that you can... I know this time of year can be very stressful and everyone's very busy, got lots to do and so on, but I hope you can find some good time to sit down and think about these things. I think it's very, I hope some of the questions, very interesting issues and things that will be pleasant, I guess, as far as final exams can go. I hope that you can enjoy this one as much as possible. So anyways, I will, as I say, in the next couple of days post some other things, but if you have any questions or any concerns whatsoever, just get in touch with me. All right.